And there's nothing was ever like that day. Nothing. I unlocked some sort of superpower on that day. I do something that I shouldn't have done. Just common sense, nothing to do with drills, procedures. I stopped my vehicle, put the window down and say, hey buddy, do you want a lift? Something compelled me to pick him up to say, do you want a lift? And why I did that, I would not have normally done that. But something compelled me to do that. So a big smile, and he runs over and gets into the car. Start driving off, and he's like, thank you so much for this. What's your name? I'm like, it's Chris. And he's like, tells me his name. And then he looks and says, how old are you? I'm like 43. He goes, I'm 43. So when were you born? I said, September. He's like, I was born in September. What day were you born? And I said, 15th. He's like, I don't know what day I was born, but this is a good sign because that means in September 1975, Chris and his name were both born. And he chuckles. He's like, he says some other stuff I can't really recall. Driving a bit further, and he reaches into his pocket. My internal spider sense is not triggered here. I don't feel threatened, anything. And he pulls out this big dagger. And it's an odd dagger. And what I found was odd was curved, but it had a double tip. So I had two tips at the end, which I'd never seen. And I just smile and say, you're not going to try and kill me with that, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not going to kill you. This is, I carry this when I'm traveling on this road in case I come across any demons or evil spirits. It comes in very handy. And he chuckles to himself and puts it away. So then moving on, and I turn to him, judging how you're dressed, I take it you're going into the city. And he's like, no. Please just drop me off at the first village we come to. And I said, we're approaching one now. And it's an African village. So it's an African village. And I'm at this village. He's like, yes, but don't take me into the village. Drop me just off outside. So, okay. So as we come to a stop, he opens the door. And then as his foot hits the ground, something happens. His foot hits the ground and his face changes. When I say changes, it's still the same man. But it's a bit like if I was, when someone offends you and you pull their face if I'm going from smiling, you'd be all serious. What? His face changed. And then he said, Chris. And when he said Chris, I felt it in my heart. It wasn't loud, but it was loud.
It was stern.
It wasn't like he didn't shout Chris, but he could have. And it's hard to explain. It wasn't loud, but it was loud. It wasn't loud, but it was deafening. It was like, Chris, may God bless you many times this day. And then like that, his face just snapped out of it. And he's like, thank you, thanks. Back in his normal voice, normal face. And he closed the door and I drove off. And I got about 150 yards down the road. I couldn't see him again. I think he might have just gone into a house or a hut or whatever. And I kind of thought that was odd. But 30 hours later, after the most remarkable day of my life, I came to think about it a lot more.
What happened?
Well, then, a few hours later, 5 terrorists attacked the D2 hotel complex.